Back in my farming days, I happened to be working in a paddock near to the main road when I looked up to see a large furniture truck going by. Now, emblazoned along the side of that truck in big, bold letters was the single word, grace. Now, that was the name of the business. But as I considered that word, I thought, that is what I need, a truckload of grace. So, what is grace? Now, my trusty dictionary puts it like this: unmerited divine assistance given to humans for their regeneration or sanctification. I beg your pardon? Let's look at what grace is all about. As people, sin comes naturally, it seems. I'm sure that you know what I mean. The Apostle Paul put it like this: the things that I don't want to do, I do. And the things that I do want to do, I don't do. I'm sure that, like me, you can identify with his words. How easy it is to let that little white lie slip out, or the snide comments, the finger pointing, the selfishness. Oh, I could go on and on. I don't really think that we need to be reminded. We know deep inside what sin is. We all know that from time to time we step over the line and we feel the guilt and the shame, and we may even wonder what God thinks about us. Now, instead of admitting our sin, so often we seem to just dig a hole a little bit deeper. Someone might say that's so we can hide our shame and embarrassment. All of us have a knack for messing up, perhaps some more so than others. But consider this: sin is sin. Wrong is wrong. A white lie is as wrong as murder, because sin is sin. So what's the answer? Well, John Newton penned that wonderful hymn, Amazing Grace, that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. John Newton, who was a slave trader, was famously caught in a wild storm at sea. And when he prayed, the storm died down. Now, from that time on, his heart began to incline towards God. Ultimately, he became a preacher, and he revelled in the amazing grace of God. Simply, grace is the goodness of God applied to our lives, not because we deserve it, but because we don't deserve it. Instead of condemnation and judgment, there is love and forgiveness, and the opportunity to start over again, to begin again. Instead of an eternity in hell, we receive salvation and new life through Jesus, because he has taken our sins upon himself and paid the penalty. The penalty was his death on the cross. Years ago, I was the presenter on one of our local community radio stations, where I often did the breakfast show. Now, I enjoyed playing good quality music, not noise, and I had the opportunity to listen to a variety of genres. One song by Keith Urban became an earworm in my head for a time. You might know it. The song, But for the Grace of God. Check it out sometime. I think we've all heard that simple phrase, and we may have even used it as a personal expression of how grateful we are for where we are. But for the grace of God go I. So what is grace? A simplistic acrostic puts it like this: God's riches at Christ's expense. In other words, Jesus has paid the price, and now we're able to be called the children of God. That's worth thinking about. Have a wonderful week. May God richly bless you.